Big night for the Sydney Swans. They currently sit in 4th position on the AFL ladder and can lock away a top 4 and a double finals chance with a win here over the Gold Coast Suns tonight as they go through the motions. Welcome back to the SCG for the continuation of round 23. Bomber, we heard from Rodney Eade and he took us through on the whiteboard a number of their tactics, how they're going to approach from a tactical point of view the Sydney Swans. How do you motivate a team that sits down towards the bottom of the ladder going into a game like this?
Well, being their last game and not having any chance of making the finals, it is quite hard. But I think what he would have done is probably talk to some of the senior players about standards and propelling themselves into the next season, and just the need to represent your club and be really competitive.
And from a John Longmire point of view, I mean, obviously he's with the Sydney Swans. They've all but wrapped up a top 4 spot, but they still need to win. Does anything change tonight?
I think they've got to win to stay in 4th, otherwise they go to 5th and they're going to not get the double chance. So it's a good pressure to have. I think they're almost the only team that has that pressure on them. It's a good way to go into the finals.
We just saw Buddy Franklin going through his motions there. It looks like he's really struggled. Last week he was subbed out of the game. He's had a few weeks off with that back injury. Again, is it another option to probably sub him out to get him through, or do they need minutes into his legs at this late stage of the season?
I think very much need minutes into his legs. He's got to play. He's got to play well. Look, if he's injured, and already the early signs we've seen him, his back might be a bit of a problem. We've got to see if he can get through a whole game.
It's extremely important. Let's have a look at the lineup of the Gold Coast Suns. They've made a couple of changes. Broughton and McKenzie come into the side. Benor and Cameron go out, and we just see it's starting to develop. I think this is really positive signs for the future. We see Shade, who debuted this year, Stephen May and Thompson, good down the spine, and in their forward line we speak week in, week out about Lynch, Day and Big Charlie Dixon. Aaron Hall has had a breakout month, his career best form, and Touk Miller, I mean, probably if he was in a top team, he might really push for the NAB Rising Star Award. And Nick Malcheski, obviously the premiership player from the Sydney Swans, will play his first game up against his old team. So there's some young, encouraging signs there with the Gold Coast Suns.
And with the Swans, into the team comes Jake Lloyd, who's he's a bit of a ball magnet too, and good to have him back. Nick Smith, unfortunately, out with a hamstring, and the sub is Leroy Jeddah. And what we've got with the Swans is that they've got a very good forward line. Their forward line's their strength as well as their midfield. Now, you imagine having a line up on Franklin, Tippett. You've got Heaney's a really good young man, and Goods. It's pretty intimidating, and their midfield strength goes unspoken.
The very best of the Sydney Swans is outstanding. One of their great leaders is Jared McVeigh. He's a late withdrawal. He's replaced in the team with by Dean Towers, and he's now with Barry Hall.
Well, Mac, a pretty important game there against Gold Coast. Important to stitch up top 4 spot. Got to win.
Yeah, we have to. Top 4's on the line, and then hopefully the boys get the job done, and then head over to Perth next week. But big game tonight, and hopefully we can play the right way and continue our good form.
Yeah, it's a massive game, but you've got some injury concerns. Nick Smith with a hamstring, and yourself with a calf. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Look, I could have played this tonight, but just thought. Better take it easy and be right for next week. Nick Smith, Sammy, should be fine for next week. I think he was running the other day, so he should be good as well. And, hopefully have our full list ready to go next week, but more importantly, get this win tonight.
Another pretty important player, Buddy, back in last week. Important to get some game time into him before a final series.
Yeah, definitely. Didn't have much training under his belt, so it was important to play last week and just get those minutes under his belt again tonight. Some more training, and he should be, firing come the big time of year.
Last 3 weeks been pretty pleasing. Contested ball's been right up for the footy club, and looking to continue that tonight.
Yeah, we needed to. It was pretty inconsistent throughout the year, but the last 3-4 weeks have been really good for us. The boys have got their confidence back as a group, and even our offensive side's been a lot better as well. So continue that tonight, and then hopefully again, in the following weeks.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers, mate.
He's a superstar, Jarek McVeigh, no doubt about that. And that's one of the great things over the last decade, I think, for the Sydney Swans, their leadership. Right back to Barry Hall, Jarek McVeigh, there's some stars.
They've always had that really strong leadership core, and they've experienced players. And, they're going to miss him tonight, but hopefully he'll be right. He said he's going to be right for next week.
He'll be right, no doubt about that. Here the Gold Coast Suns run out onto the SCG. And on a beautiful night, great conditions here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And this team shows plenty of good signs. As we were going through the lineup before, their key position is really good. And I think there's some encouraging signs from their younger players that have just been exposed over the last couple of years of football. And one I want to focus on is Jack Martin. I mean, a small frame player that you imagine will go into the midfield eventually. but he plays small forward and attacks the ball.
Well, he knows the game, doesn't he? He's footy smart. He's only a little man. Hopefully he'll grow into his body a little bit. But he's a marking player. Yeah. He's a smart little crummer. He's got everything he needs. Their lineup still looks very, very strong.
And his shoulder's taped on there. I think in his first game last year, he dislocated that shoulder. He's a ferocious attack on the opposition as well. Tackles extremely hard and attacks the ball well. So I think really encouraging signs.
Well, he's probably learned a very good lesson this year too, is not to have a drink on a Friday night before a game.
Oh, it's probably a pretty good idea, that one. A Tasmanian boy, you're speaking of Launceston, I think that's where it all happened down there, but a Launceston native is Colin Jasny, and he's played off half-back, and I think there's a fair chance he'll be in the top 3 and 4 in the best and fairest, and that's a really good sign for a second-year player.
Well, it is, and he's got a twin brother who plays with Geelong, and they're very similar players, but I think Gold Coast have got the better one of the two. He just reads the play well, and he knows where the ball's going to. He protects drop zone, and he's a good natural spoiler. He loves picking up and sweeping up on the ball too, and getting possessions and carrying it. So, no, great future there.
Halfway through the year, I think it was a fair indication how many injuries they had. He was their most experienced defender in the back half, so really, for a second-year player, that wasn't a great sign for the Gold Coast Suns. Let's have a look at the AFL ladder as it currently sits. We'll have a look at the top 8, where obviously the Sydney Swans sit. And with Richmond's good win last night means that the Sydney Swans have to win tonight to maintain their spot. If they lose and the Gold Coast Suns kick more than 67 points, but basically if they lose, they will slip out of the 8 and lose that double chance, and Richmond pop up into the top 4.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, they're the only real team that have a purpose to play, and that's the best way to go into finals footy. They're going to have to play well and win this match tonight to be in the top 4 to get that double chance.
Yeah, I'm sure they've watched a number of the games over the weekend. There's been some strange results so far, but they have to be motivated to really play well and look to stamp their authority very early on this young, inexperienced Gold Coast Suns lineup. And I think that'll come from the likes of Kennedy in the midfield, the strong-bodied midfielders, and some of their other bigger players that create a question mark. I mean, big Kurt Tippett's played forward, played in the ruck. He's had a really good 2 weeks.
I think he's playing his best football he's ever played in his life in the ruck, Kurt Tippett.
Yeah, he's playing some good football. Go to the other end of the spectrum, Isaac Heaney. He's played 11 games of AFL football, game at 12 tonight. 4 goals against St Kilda last week, and he makes an impact. Plays majority of his time in the forward 50.
A boy who grew up playing rugby and soccer, he certainly learnt the art of playing our game pretty well, and it's a good mix, I think, because it is agility, athleticism, but it's also toughness, and he is tough. He's a really consistently tough young man.
He is tough, and you spoke before about Jack Martin, where he does it on the ground and in the air. This man does too. Century, at times, he's been forced to play into a centre-half forward role.
It's an amazingly good mark, isn't he, for his height, and I don't know how he just keeps timing it, but he just gets on the end of him pretty well.
He gets involved in the score assist, and we just see there, I mean, he's not a big man, but he throws himself at the contest. Actually, physically, he gets knocked about a fair bit, which has seen him get injured, but that is an outstanding reading of the ball in the air.
Yeah, you can call it luck or whatever, but Sydney are having him in the academy the last couple of years, and having first pick at him, it's a massive advantage. It's a good thing, good deal by them.
Yeah, it's a huge bonus for the Sydney Swans, and it's a huge bonus for the Swans coach. John Longmire is with Barry Hall.
Well, John, crucial clash today. Sum up a double chance in the top 4 spot. Must win.
Yeah, it is, absolutely, Hawley. There's a lot riding on tonight's result. We know that. We've got a strong team in, and we know the sort of footy we need to play to get the result.
Been really impressed with your defence over the past 3 weeks. Big challenge today, though. Lynch and Dixon up forward, pretty potent.
Yeah, they are. They're super up there. I mean, those 2 blokes are 2 of the better key forwards going around. So it's a big job for our key defence, but it's always about our midfield pressure to make sure he doesn't get down there lace out.
Well, that's been the one that really got you going in the midfield. Contested ball's been right up. Must be pleased.
Yeah, it is. It's been good the last couple of weeks, but we've got to do it again tonight, and it's a big responsibility in our midfield group.
What's the number one thing on the board, on the whiteboard at the moment? What's the bigger focus today?
Pressure the opposition. That's what we've got to do. That's what we build our game on. That's what we've got to do early.
Big game for you. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Bomber, we just heard from John Longmire talking about pressure. What do you expect to see from the first bounce here tonight?
Well, you'd hope that the Gold Coast Suns are up for it, and they're at ground level as soon as the ball, that they're hunting in numbers, and you'd really want to see Sydney do the same. And Johnny Longmire, it's all about intensity and consistency for him, and that's what you'd expect. If it was anything less, you wouldn't be that happy.
And Charlie Dixon's been a massive talking point over the last probably 3 months, really. I mean, whether he stays here or goes, but he's a real asset for whatever team he's playing for, and that's obviously the Gold Coast Suns. He's a big, powerful forward, but can go into the ruck and make an impact there as well.
Over 200 centimetres. centimetres, isn't he? So if he plays a key forward and a little bit of time in the ruck, it's a massive advantage for your team. I think this is playing his last game for the Gold Coast, is he?
Well, no, it hasn't been decided yet. I think there's a pretty few clubs lining up and they want to get his signature, but I think the Gold Coast Suns do as well. Plenty of stars on display here tonight at the SCG. We'll be back after the break for the first bounce. It's the Gold Coast Suns up against the Sydney Swans.
Last time these two sides met was at Metricon Stadium, and it was a good start by the Sydney Swans in the first half, kicking 9 goals to 2 with their big names, Franklin and Goods, showing the way, and they set up that 52-point win. Tippett involved as well with a 44-point lead to half-time. The Suns were better in the second half, but it was the big key forwards of the Swans who did enough to continue this good record. See Lloyd getting involved, but the good record between the sides, 5 games between the Swans and the Suns, 5 wins for the Sydney Swans. And that dearly loved Buddy to be back to his best tonight and be doing a little bit of that. Good win by the Sydney Swans as we welcome you back, and we're set for the toss of the coin. Michael Riscatelli got a cut to his head last week as well, so maybe that's just a safety precaution there. Kieran Jack wins the toss. The Sydney Swans will kick to the right of screen here at the SCG, and a man that's still very, very popular in this part of town, and that's Barry Hall, and he joins us from ground level. Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. Well, we know it's a must-win game for the Swans to get that double chance and stay in the top 4. We spoke about a pre-game. One thing I've been really impressed with the Swans the past 3 weeks is their contested ball. They've dominated that area of the game, and that's the Swans brand. When their midfield's up and going, they're winning that contested situation. We know they've got the skill, the talent and class to finish those things. And John Longmire just spoke about a pre-game. That's a big focus for them today. This will be a box that they want to tick today against the Gold Coast Suns to win the contested ball and go into a final series with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I think you're right, Barry. It's a nice way to go into the finals, as Bomber Thompson mentioned as well, with a bit of pressure about your winning performance. And there'll be a couple of sides watching on here tonight, in particular the sides that played last night in Richmond and North Melbourne. Richmond would be very keen for the Gold Coast Suns to win this game. North Melbourne, I think, might be barracking for the Swans. Yeah,
75% of the Richmond membership are watching tonight, and they're barracking for this team here. Charlie Dixon and big Tommy Lynch and fellow forwards there. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Suns go about this, whether they're actually up for the contest to try to shape the Final 4. That's all they can hang their hat on now.
We've seen the Suns a bit in the last few weeks, and when those 3 key forwards, when they separate and spread, they're very dangerous. But if they find themselves on top of each other, it's a waste of time and a waste of talent.
Well, there's so many of them. The 3 is hard to find space in this type of footy that they play today.
Just the coordination over time. Stephen May, been outstanding defender, just competes extremely well. It just reminds me of a couple of former defender teammates of mine, Justin Lepich, Mal Michael, that competes extremely well.
Lynchy, how long does it take to get a relationship with a partner who's a tall forward as well?
It's a good couple of seasons. Yeah, 2 or 3 seasons.
Sydney Swans looking to hold on to their position inside the top 4. They have a good record, as I mentioned, against the Suns, and they are expected to continue in that vein. Kurt Tippett in game number 150 goes for the first knock, can't quite take it. Riscatelli down low. We'll have a whistle straight away. Umpires in blue tonight.
Going out this way.
You mentioned Kurt Tippett. He's just found a bit of form, getting his hand on the ball in the centre, and also pushing forward and
getting some goals, which has been good with Buddy Franklin being sore.
Yeah, 8-7 in the last 2 weeks, really good return.
Yep. Tackle from Cunningham, the ball spills for Jack. Heaney with that stretch, couldn't quite take it. Reed just lost his footing. On hands and knees, Kieran Jack tapped it out. Mitchell, quick give, tried to get Buddy going through.
Not in the back.
Not in the back. You heard the umpire. It was very close to being in the back, I can tell you. Shaw, Heaney with some skill. Jack again, busy early. Thrown out by Kennedy. That was a throw.
I think from the start of the game, you could pretty much assume that Swans are playing for keeps and they want to win this game.
Yep.
Yeah. The intensity's there early.
Yep.
Malcheski returns to the SCG for the first time. Very different environment to what he remembers. Crowd are against him this time.
Sure, that's a risky kick. It was 2-on-2 at the forward 50 for the Swans, and they've turned it over. Kennedy with a couple of movements. Mitchell to Lloyd. Lloyd, first shot of goal for the Swans, off to the right. In fact, hits the post on the half volley. Or it was a review.
Let's have a discussion. What did you see?
I believe that the ball hit the post on the full.
Yeah, I believe that as well.
It's funny how
Okay,
they...
so happy to go with out in the full?
Yeah.
Out in the full. Yep, back 5 metres.
That's what you want from a field umpire, though, isn't it?
Yeah, what's that bit of...
Must come in this
just
line,
overruling.
Overruling,
Yeah,
yeah.
just saying, no, it's out on the full, let's play.
Let's play, let's get on with it.
Yep. Thompson, short. Now Shaw owes them one after that turnover, but he releases quickly to Hall.
Wasn't much better.
No. Malcheski, that's better. Martin, and he's got a bit of time, and he's got some room to move. Lynch will present all night long. And now he's off his line, told to move, and he runs himself into a bit of trouble. But Garlett, May, now Hall, kicks it straight into his opponent, which was Reid. He gets it back off the handball from Tippett. Jack, back towards Hanbury, off the ground. Colin Jasny, standing in the way, Laidler.
Still me.
And some room out wide for Lloyd.
Well, then Heaney goal square.
And here's Goods, who'll spot Heaney. And this is transition at its best.
Wow.
And this talented young man will go back and should kick the first goal of the night.
Bit easy, that one, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a training drill down once the turnover. And the turnover came in the middle of the ground from Aaron Hall. Just held the kick back too long, got smothered.
This is the mark just here.
And they got exposed on the rebound. And this young man just goes from strength to strength.
At 15 seconds.
12th game.
So Heaney, 30 metres out, virtually directly in front. First goal, Sydney Swans.
Great assist before as well.
Well, you know, for me, it's the thing that Rocket Heat has to teach these young boys. While they're in possession of the ball and the ball goes down inside their forward 50, it's clearly going to go to the opposition. That means that their boys in the middle of the ground have to get defended earlier because you can't... Like, they had time to get out to Goods and to Heaney, but they just weren't in the picture.
Yep. And that's a lot of it's not just the speed of running, it's the thinking to go from that offensive mindset to defensive a lot quicker, and that takes time as well, but something that Rocket will be certainly imploring his players to do.
Continuing on from his good form from last week.
Yeah, super impressive.
Yep.
Whether it's at ground level with his score assists or marking on the lead. That was probably one of the easier goals that he's had.
Yep. Zach Smith taps it down to Danny Stanley, who manages to get the kick away towards the forward 50. McKenzie up forward, which is rare for the Suns, as Shaw pushes it out wide. Mike Pike. Back to Lloyd, who's started well. Down the line to Reid on the stretch. 20 on 20 there.
2 metres, that's it there. Play on.
Reid decides to move it in quickly. Get it towards Tippett. Zach Smith goes in front and protects Riscatelli. Good play. Hall to Matera,
Play on.
who's upped his work rate in the last month, Matera.
Play on.
Lynch,
You. Yep.
by hand into the middle, gets it back, but now it becomes risky. Riscatelli.
High ball.
Did well, Tom Lynch, to actually stay involved in the contest, but that last handball just put Riscatelli under too much pressure.
Yeah, but you want them to do it. The ruck would be encouraging them to do that sort of thing. You need to do it if you're going to win games of footy. You've got to take a risk.
Riscatelli up and under this. And McKenzie just stood and watched. And Rowan worked it out pretty well for the Swans, and he wants to move it quickly again.
He was too busy appealing to the umpire for the free kick. Felt that he was thrown out of the road, but he just can't do that.
Brandon Jack. Reid, good stretch, good play. And they've isolated Shade on Reid a couple of times.
Reid could be one of those real X-factor players over the next month. We've seen his form is a little bit up and down, but if he can really stretch opposition defences and mark the ball above his head, he's such a mobile player.
Perfect. He's right on the
Just if
mark
he can get
here.
some continuity in good football in the forward half, he's going to be a huge asset.
Perfect.
It's a very similar position to Heaney from his first goal, perhaps a little bit further out. We don't have the same result. He just rolled across that, didn't he?
Well, he's already had 4 possessions. He's the highest possession getter on the ground, Reid, so he's had a good start. It would be hard to match up on the 3 of them, wouldn't it? You've got Franklin, Tippett and Reid and Goods. 4.
I think they've tried to isolate Shade, as I mentioned before. Shade with the least experience of those defenders down back for the Suns.
He's been on the list a few years, but only got his opportunity. Big barrel down the middle.
Oh, good old-fashioned barrel from the kick in, almost gets to the middle of the ground. Usually comes back pretty quick, but it won't this occasion.
Oh, it might do.
McKenzie.
No one home.
No one home.
Yeah.
Laidler first to it for Sydney. A little bit untidy with the hands, but they've got numbers. Jones, Rampy involved, and now Cunningham down low. Hanbury loves playing at the SCG, always racks up enormous amount of possessions. Garlett to Lonergan. And he'll hope for some tall timber up there. Maybe Lynch at the back. Or Martin stays down. He is clever, but he lost his footing. Matera across the face. It'll just suit Pike. Rampy. Good stretch. Read again. Away they go up the outer side. This time through Kennedy. Drills it low. Kieran Jack. Plays on quickly.
Poor kick, isn't it?
He's kicked to his old teammate, Malcheski, who has had a duffer.
Well, it's fair to say he hasn't had a great year with the boot. Nick Malcheski. He was a great distributor off a half-back for the Sydney Swans. Just missing targets, and on the non-preferred right leg there, near missed it.
Yeah, he's taken a fair bit out of the ground there, but anyway. Miller shovels it out to Lonergan, a little bit high from Hanbury. Heard from Rodney that Miller gets the job on Hanbury.
He's answered every challenge that's been given to him.
Good young
Miller.
kid. Again, it's that risky kick. Heaney throws himself at it. Now Stanley in trouble. And the Suns flirting again across the face of goal. Malcheski this time on his left boot, but goes one way then the other. Squeezes it to Lemons.
Nice work in the first quarter, Matty.
Didn't even mean it. Oh dear. It all went sour for him. I did mean that. Matera. Jones was there first. Now the Swans. You've seen a few players go down already. A little bit slipperier than we think, maybe. Rowan's kick across the face. Heaney again. Reid might give it towards Heaney or go himself. Decides he spots Kennedy and found his target, and this should be their second goal. Heaney's looking very dangerous, as is Reid.
He had a big chunk of it, Heaney, in that marking contest, but the ground is lush. It's longish,
yep.
And obviously players are struggling to hold their feet.
The thing, did you see Rory Thompson there try and do the Hawthorn block for the bloke on the mark? He went the wrong side. It caused the turnover and made Lemons to be sour.
Yeah, they've given a couple up already and they're back 50, haven't they?
Yep.
I know they're trying to take some risk and take the game on, but you've got to hit targets. Kennedy slots it straight through for Sydney's second. They're up by 13.
Worrying signs for the Richmond supporters that have tuned in because they've got off to a really strong start here. And as you said, Matty and Bomber, you highlighted some turnovers in the back half. Just there's Heaney's jump and Reid in the contest. He had a huge chunk of it, and they're just too quick at the moment, composed. And that's good use from Sam Reid, who at times can panic with the ball in hand, but identified where Kennedy was and chipped a nice 25-metre pass into him.
Always a pleasure to watch. Josh Kennedy, wonderful player, gets the second goal. Joins Heaney on the list. Nice knock there from Zach Smith down to Danny Stanley. Rowan's coming. Lynch, Richard spoils. McKenzie worked hard to get it over to Garlett. He just lost possession. Jones, Zach Jones. And we've got a ball up just on the 50 here for the Suns.
Yeah, Hanbury just spun out of that contest. Just caught one on the forehead, I think. But at this stage, the Suns forwards haven't been able to hold the ball in their forward 50. It rebounds far too quickly. So at ground level, there must be better.
Big Stephen May did really well there. He doesn't kick goals very often. Gee, good effort from him. He got plenty of distance from the throw on the boot.
He's a powerful man, Big Stephen May. Played a bit of footy in his early years.
Started a bit up forward, didn't he?
Up forward. From memory, he had a really good game at centre forward at the MCG one day, but he looks like a natural defender.
Strong mark from Tippett in front of Smith. Plays the percentage and lays it off over to Jack. Kieran Jack, beautiful vision.
First touch for the big man.
Yep.
Not a bad one either. Drills it low. Towers. Again, they're happy to go to Reid. This time, he had Colin Jasny, so he had the height advantage, but he is the target at the moment for Sydney.
That's it there. That's your
Well, it's a massive advantage, isn't it, having three? Like, Reid's a really tall player. I don't know how tall he is exactly, but he does play like a tall forward. And
196.
Yeah, 196. Three big guys.
And
Goods
takes
is not
the ball
small either.
really high.
Yes.
So he missed earlier on. Again, we're in a similar position, and he's gone the other side. One left, one right.
That was an odd kick for goal. Here's Buddy just now. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on the fitness of this man, but he's just headbutted his good mate. And Daniel Hanbury.
All indications from the Swans officials is he's trained the best he's trained for nearly a month, Buddy, during the week. So they're really happy with where he's at. He's looking to have a big impact today.
Dixon was the target from the kick in. Couldn't take it. We had another ball up. So
he's hurt his head here, Buddy Franklin. He's got one on the back of the
one
neck.
on the front of the head, now the back.
You haven't seen him tackle too often like that, have you?
No, it's solid.
Yeah.
Not sure. I reckon he might have pinched his neck.
Well, they're going forward again here, Sydney, but standing in the way, Malcheski. They're 14-1. They probably should be 4 goals here, the Swans. Reid's missed 2 virtual sitters, and they're working pretty hard to win it back off the Suns here. Hall back to Broughton. And flirting with the boundary line and flirted over the line.
Now, that's just trap you can fall into when you're playing someone you should beat. You sort of just muck around and get fancy. If I was the Swans, I just want to see them kick a lot of goals and just get the ball really direct, take a few risks, and just get some contested ball, contested marks, and kick some goals. On with business.
Horrible kick from Kennedy. But no one really there for the Gold Coast, so Sydney should win by having the bulk of numbers.
They're getting the rebound.
That chunky kick like that, yeah. Yep.
They're getting out of here far too easy, so the Suns need to switch on defensively.
Jack's had 7 possessions already, and we're halfway through the first quarter. Lloyd just chipping over the top. Running is Rowan, decides to then go deep into the pocket. Reid overstretched that time, shade back. Also back was Lemons, but it's pinched by Mitchell. Oh, ricochets back. Hanbury. That's enough from Hanbury. That's their third.
And that's the sort of goal you want to see. Like, that was a good contested ball goal. You take that any time, in any game. But the problem is, Tommy, Lynch, is when you get a lot of easy kicks out to the side square, you'll get players running there too. And that's a problem. That can cause a little bad habit. But that was a good goal. It was a mismark. Ball hit the ground. There was 1 of 3 Swans that could have got the ball. They were in the right spot and they finished their work.
Yeah, he's such an important player, Dan Hanbury. With one of their best midfielders out of the side for an extended period, Luke Parker, he's important.
Okay, set up, Rux. Back it out this way.
So Hanbury joins Kennedy and Heaney. So a couple of goals from the midfield for the Swans, and the Suns need to get one. Get something happening on the scoreboard. Smith again going defensively back off the knock, this time Riscatelli. And going back and taking a good mark later. Just chips into the middle. Mitchell, as we know, he's a magnet. He racks up possessions.
Thank you.
Again, as Bomber was talking about, that spread from Sydney, that again, the Gold Coast aren't getting on the outside to stop or block the run.
Shaw, Heaney's trying to get rid of it. It's a good stretch. It's gone out of bounds on the full, though it has.
Should just pay it anyway.
Thank you.
He's a star. He's not going to win the NAB Rising Star. You wouldn't suggest with just 12 games under his belt, but certainly one of the highlights of the season.
Speaking of highlights.
Yes, he's a good player, isn't he, Hanbury? Very good.
Again, they chip to the lead of Heaney.
Hold there, he's not off. Hold, clear out. Right out. That's it there. Play on. Play
Now
on.
he's off his line. And he's not sure where to go, so he goes back to Rowan, who accelerates away from the contest and gives it up. Jack Martin in the way, so
Clear it out.
should have done better with that, Sydney.
Me.
Shaw.
Now again, trying to make sure they can get some of their big forwards at the end of this ball to make a contest. They're just not getting it to the forwards at all.
Oh dear, he's done it again. Asking a fair bit of Broughton. Lemons comes in to help out, but he's caught pretty well. He's going to have to be careful here, holding the ball. It wasn't a real attempt, was it? No. It was a fake attempt.
This is the mark just here.
There was Lemons just held in there.
Thanks, mate. That's
He's trying to punch the ball through his legs.
So in that situation there, if Kennedy is trying to hold the ball in two, which he probably a little bit did, is that still a free kick against?
That's what they pay.
Yeah, they pay, don't they?
They do. They pay it.
You've run straight through the mark, 50 metres.
Oh.
There we go. Man coming off the ground, Jesse Lonergan has run through the mark. He was just concentrating on getting off and making the switch. He's gone through the mark. So this is a gift now for Kennedy to be his second, and then Sydney will be out to a 25-point lead. And things are looking ominous for the Suns, and things are looking bright for Sydney.
Some really basic mistakes happening for the Gold Coast Suns. Malcheski, I don't think it was Malcheski that actually ran through the mark. Lonergan was the one who just ran straight across in front of Josh Kennedy, and I think something, here we go.
There it is there. Here he comes. Straight in front.
He didn't even realise, did he? That he didn't realise that Kennedy was lining up, the one with the ball was lining up, shoot for goal. Oh, he should be more alert than that.
Time you leave. Here we go.
Doesn't come much easier than that for Josh.
Now, that's what you want, a 50-metre penalty to put you on the goal line.
Yep. So he's got two. Dixon in the ruck for the Swans, but for the Suns, and here's Kennedy again. Got it from Mitchell, but Thompson in the way.
Play on. Play on. You, mate.
And he's found someone on the outside. It's Dixon spreading from the centre circle.
Play on. Play on.
They're really not sure, though, are they? And they're in trouble. Holding the ball again.
That's where, I think when you've got the three big forwards, your bailout kicks should always be there. So if under the pump, you're going 50 metres long down the line.
Towers' kick in, almost marks. Collar Jasny off a step, got it from Lemons, and a good kick in the end because he saw Shaw was waiting.
Well, the big problem for the Gold Coast Suns is that they haven't got anyone to kick the ball to. That's because Sydney defenders do run down the ground a long way. And it's hard to reset. That's one of the real things that Sydney defenders do. They're not big names, but they work well as a team.
It's hard to see the Suns kicking a goal. Every time they get it, they go backwards. And it's not from a defensive mindset. They're just not sure. Day. Up goes Garnett. Went for the big hanger, couldn't take it. Recovered well. Martin now on his left boot. To the advantage of Hall. It's a beautiful kick. Hall off the ground. First back, though. They're doing well, Towers. Came into the side, McVeigh out. Kennedy along the ground. Jones. Riscatelli got a hand in it. Turned it over. Probably didn't want it back there, Riscatelli. Probably expected Garlick to throw it on the boot.
Big Mike Pike turned the clock back a few years to his old rugby days there. Just dropped the shoulder. Good, strong tackle.
And as you can see there, boys, Greg Broughton in his last game of footy, he's got a few issues. Said that left knee's heavily strapped. He come off limping. We'll keep an eye on that one.
That doesn't look good at all.
No.
That much taping, you know, maybe over to the cartilage on the medial side for a little medial niggle.
So when we talked before about the forward line, they not having a target, I reckon the Gold Coast Suns have to say, well, as soon as the ball is about to look like it's going to come back, they should reset earlier so they're seen. They've got to be seen. The bloke with the ball's got to see something, and they're not quite seeing anything at the moment.
No, and you can tell
that was
the halfbacks with the ball in hand.
Yes.
They're not confident, so they don't want to go.
Nothing obvious to go to, is there?
And in the good sides that you would have coached at Geelong, they don't have to see them because they know they're going to be there. So they don't even look up. They just, if under pressure, they go long.
Just giving away some free kicks here too, the Suns. Martin gave away a free kick there and spent his whole time complaining to the umpire.
Yes.
And they played off.
They do a bit of that, don't they, the Gold Coast Suns? You're right, Lynch, about that. Exactly right. Predictability, it's called.
Chip it. Second attempt. We're going to boundary throw in.
Well, John Longmore will be absolutely wrapped with the start. He spoke about a contested ball and the pressure around the football. 14-4 in tackles so far. So they've come to play the Swans and they're getting in their forward half and keeping it there.
Certainly where the game's been played, isn't it? This Swans forward half, the ground.
And they're attacking here again. Lonergan got it over to Hall. Riscatelli back to Hall. Covers a lot of ground now that he's been given that role in the midfield. Touched off the boot, 2-on-1 situation for the Swans. Rampick backs himself. Sends it back to where it just came from. Again, Thompson.
And to continue on with your point, Bomber, where they struggled there for probably a month, the Sydney Swans, their defenders were being isolated and getting marked against. But very rarely do we see them isolated.
No, that's right. They work well as a team, and just then we just seen a spare back, and they try and manufacture that spare back.
Rowan was terrific with the spoil. Just a little fumble there. Got it forward. Goods trying to crumb it off of Heaney's jump. Kolodjasny dribbles along the ground. Material's there. So it'll be a throw-in. But again, we see the Suns trying to get it out of their back 50 and turning it over. Rowan really did attack that footy hard. He's a bit ginger. See that?
Yeah,
just
good.
Goes down.
Good attack at the contest.
Both holding, play on.
Jack to Lloyd. Floats it. It's not his best kick, but it falls for Big Kurt in game 150. He'll claim it.
Maybe a score assist. Big Kurt Tippett. Game 150. And umpire's just saying it's just gone 15 right on the limit. Zach Smith's arguing the point. But Kurt Tippett, if he keeps his goal kicking going, that's where he becomes so handy. It's about to rest forward and mark and kick goals.
It's not far off 300 goals in his 150 games. It's a pretty tight angle. And it stays out to the right. So we've seen Reid miss 2 and Tippett miss 1. But no problems for the Swans on the scoreboard. They're up by 26.
Yeah, 7 scoring shots to 1. Inside 50, 16-7.
That's the limit, Adam.
But more than that, it's the quality of ball that's going inside 50.
Again, they're pretty keen to go down the middle here. Lynch the target. He's got front and square. He had Took Miller. He kicks it up long. No one home again at all.
1 on 3 if they get there.
Shaw with time. Hard running from Lloyd to be next in line. He can play on as well. He goes down the line to Reid.
Possession number 8 to Reid.
Just watch Broughton there, and I'm sure Barry's watching Broughton as well. He didn't move too well. Just let Reid take that.
And Michael Riscatelli copped that one in the face.
Yeah. Broughton gave it off to Matera, who hooks it back. Lynch is coming. It's a good kick, Matera. Just needed a crummer, and he had one in Kolodjasny, but Sydney will win out. For now, Shaw, good tackle, holding the ball. That's better from the Suns.
Well, and that's that reference points we're talking about. Go long to Lynch. He didn't mark the ball, but it was predictable. It dropped to the front, and the numbers closed in.
It's more of what you want to see, that type of play. It's a bit more structure, a bit more predictable to the teammates.
High ball up. Dixon was the target. It falls for Matera. He likes to kick a goal. Goes along the ground.
Oh, Dunster.
And one for Jason.
Well, Bomber, I'd ask you the question. How would you address your players with that one? That's a drop punt every day of the week. He's running straight into goal.
That's the kid stuff, isn't it? They have to wipe out of them as quick as they can, because you do that in junior footy and you miss, it doesn't matter. On the big stage, it matters a lot.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
And the Swans on the way back. Towers, good stretch.
Good work from Towers. This is a late inclusion into the side for Jared McVeigh. So he wants to make the most of every opportunity that he gets. We just saw Henry Shade. You spoke about he's probably the least of the experienced, the inexperienced guys back there. He just lost the body of Towers. Tried to push back, lost contact, and Towers took a pretty much an uncontested grab in the end.
And this could hurt the Suns. We've just talked about the fact that Matera went along the ground. Could have kicked a drop punt just like that. Beautiful finish from Towers. That's their 5th.
And that's energy sapping. That sort of opportunity where we spoke, they were going long to their big forwards, got the ball to ground. Instead of kicking the goal, it's a point, turnover, and here, watch Shade just lose contact, took his eyes off the ball for a split second, then searched for Towers and lost the body, so he didn't even make a contact with the body, let alone the ball. So good work from Towers, just a bit of inexperience there from young Shade.
Set it up. On your lead. Here we go.
Making the most of his return to the team. He's been good so far, early. 7 disposals and a goal for Dean Towers.
Is he renowned as being a wonderful kick? Because that was a nice kick, wasn't it?
Yeah. I haven't seen enough. He's only played the 14 games, but what I've seen of him, he does
Well, someone's
finish
hurt.
well.
Gary Rowan.
Jack, I think.
Jack, is it?
Yeah, Hanbury's kick out of the middle. Just a bit sore there, Jack, and he wants to get off.
Well, he's grabbing the inside of the knee.
Meantime, at the other end, his brother runs past the footy. He thought he had a certain goal. And he could be in trouble for holding the ball. But
well, Jack's in a lot of trouble actually grabbing that knee. Doc Gibbs is out there just to assess it. Doesn't look great at all.
No.
No, and he is such an important player, co-captain.
You know, with Kieran Jack, it's going to be sore because he's a pretty tough kid.
Yeah.
Very tough. Tapped over by by Brandon Jack to Cunningham, and Cunningham kicks a goal.
I'd imagine John Longmire didn't see that goal because he'd be more concerned about his co-captain than Kieran Jack down there, and he's been assisted from the ground with his knee injury. Just have a look here, and that has opened up the inside of the knee when
Collision there.
was it Riscatelli or one of the midfielders it's Danny Stanley's fallen across his knee, so that doesn't look good.
Great news for Sydney on the scoreboard. Not so great at ground level. Barry Hall will be all over that and find out exactly what's going on with his former teammate. But also some news, Barry, from the Gold Coast.
Yeah, there is. We spoke about Greg Broughton and his knee and how he's struggling. He's actually been subbed out of the game. Luke Russell comes in. So that's a tragic end to Luke. Greg Broughton is his last game of footy.
Last game of footy. Yeah, so he's off. Russell in. And let's hope for Sydney's finals chance. They've already lost Luke Parker. They can't afford to lose Kieran Jack. Doing a pretty good job of destroying the Suns here. 39 plays 2. McKenzie has put it into row 9.
And there's a reflection of the pressure. One of the better kicks in the competition, Trent McKenzie. Here's Greg Broughton. Just got a heavy contact from Isaac Heaney and just limps out of, with obviously a sore knee as it is.
Worked out that it was no good.
Yeah, limps out of that and not good at all.
At least he got to get to go on the ground in his last game, unlike Brent Staker.
Well, Brent Staker today, playing his last game for the Brisbane Lions, did his hamstring in the warm-up, so didn't actually take the ground.
Hanbury, beautiful pass. Reed spilled what he should have taken. Smith the tackle. Big Mike Pike there.
Well, that's dropping the ball. It's good work from Danny Stanley, one of the experienced recruits in year 1. And he continues to toil away.
And he kicks to the wing. Dixon at the back. Got a bit of it. Lloyd first to it. Gave it up. Shade to May. So the defenders doing the attacking here for the Suns. He drives along 1 on 3. There it is. Simple float back there by the Sydney defenders. Made it very hard. Way out. It's Pike once again. But a clinical display by the Sydney Swans in the first quarter. The only negative is the ice pack on the inside of the left knee of their captain, Kieran Jack. So we'll get some more information about how serious that injury might be. Let's hope it's just precautions, but Sydney Swans in control on the scoreboard. Quarter time here at the SCG. They're up by a big margin, 37. Well, if you had any doubt whether the Swans were ready to play tonight, yeah, they've sort of thrown that away pretty early in the first quarter. Bang and crash and throwing their bodies on the line, sometimes at breakneck speed, and sometimes they've come off a little bit second best, but they really did attack the footy in that first quarter. They want to finish in 4th spot, and they've done everything right so far. 39 plays 2. Kennedy, 2 goals, so getting goals out of the midfield. Reed very important with 10 disposals. Some disposals on the other side of the coin, but the Gold Coast have really given it up fairly easy along the way. Let's find out what's happening in the Sydney camp. Here's Barry Hall with their assistant coach, Stewie Jew.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. Well, Stewie, not a bad start to the game, but the pressure around the footy, and particularly in the forward half, outstanding.
Yeah, we've started well. Inside, Gold Coast probably matched us. The only disappointing thing, I think they've taken 5 or 6 from our entry, so we could have been on top by a bit more.
Now, last round of the year, last thing you want is injuries. Kieran Jack, likely to be subbed out of the game?
Yeah, we've subbed him, so we had Jet sitting there, and really just no risk with Kieran, so just got a head knock into his knee, but I think it'd be right, but yeah, like you said, no risk.
Good luck, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
So both teams, by quarter time, subs in play.
Yeah, and that's not great at all. As you said, Bomber, for Greg Broughton, not good in his last game to be subbed out, but from a team point of view, Kieran Jack Looks like he's opened up that medial ligament. Hopefully it's not a medial tear, which, I mean, could be anything. That could be a couple of weeks.
Someone with a medial.
Over.
Yeah, just get back in a week, though. Nah, not like that. Not the way he came off.
He's very sore.
Very, very doubtful for next week.
We want to remain positive. The Sydney Swans fans watching at home want to be positive, but sometimes you look at body language on the bench, and you wouldn't say that he's really happy to be there.
No, he's not. And the pain that he had straight away, and it was maintained for a period of time. Sometimes you sort of bounce out of those, and now what's going through his mind, he's concerned about the finals.
Absolutely, it's the wrong time of year to be injured. Start of the second quarter.
Swans by 37 points. Tippett in the ruck trying to find Mitchell, so not going far there. And Kieran Jacket started beautifully. I mean, he had a few mates, but 7 disposals. Comes to Shaw, gets up underneath that. It's a high ball, it's a tough one. Garlick comes out. Attacked it well. Riscatelli palms off, hooks it round, didn't get it far. Great take by Kennedy. Almost tried to claim the mark, but gets it back in the end and releases Shaw. In. Jones, they're just chipping it here, and Buddy's on the end of it. Hooks it round the corner. Now it will probably come to the front. Mitchell wants it there, and they couldn't keep it in.
I've been watching Buddy play, and he's really going high. He's not spending any time really deep inside 50. He's sort of been like a bit of one that's isolating space for Reid, and it's a different sort of a role, and he hasn't had much of the ball. He doesn't look that great.
Free kick in the ruck to Tippett.
1-on-1 deep.
And he drives it in that direction to Reid. The man they've tried to isolate since the start of the game, as Bomber just mentioned, and it pays off again. Now he's kicked one left, he's kicked one right.
Goes straight through the middle of the
Straight through the gut, surely.
Has to.
Well, I tell you what, that's not what's going through his mind. If you're spraying them all over the place,
you'd know.
Oh, I have sprayed them all over the place. He's thinking that hopefully this hits the boot flush.
Again, it's not he's only 30 metres out, directly in front.
And it didn't.
And that... He's now got an issue.
And you're right,
You're right.
Yeah, you're right, Bomber. I have been through that as well. What you actually want, you'd rather have
one
a
at
shot
60 metres out.
50 or 60 metres out than 30, because everyone's looking at it and thinking, you've got to kick this, surely. But 50, the pressure's off.
Simi Reid's always been like that, though. He's dropped 3 marks he should have taken. He should have had 4 goals to his name by now. He just really has trouble finishing his good work.
That's spot on, Barry. He should be absolutely dominating on the board. 3 shots from 30 metres out. Now, from the umpire away from the footy.
Charlie Dixon has gone to spoil, and a bit of collateral damage, I think. The right ear of Laidler.
Lloyd drills it. Well, it was headed towards Reid, but Malcheski got in the way.
Isaac, where you are.
Stay, Isaac, thank you. Wait. Play on! Hey.
7 marks inside 50 now for the Swans. It's a nil for the Suns.
That's a good kick from Kolodjasny. He's got a good leg, hasn't he? Riscatelli gets it in. Here's their first chance. Lynch in reasonable position, but I tell you what, Martin got in his way. Now Lynch, second effort.
Nice.
Geez, that's not bad. That's a goal. Tom Lynch is an excellent player, and that's a fantastic goal.
He's going to be a beauty, isn't he?
Yeah.
We all know that. Not seen that much of him being in Melbourne. This kid's a future star. I love the way he plays. He's very similar to the boy from GWS, Cameron.
Yeah.
And he's everything you need.
And the reason why he is so good, he's not one-dimensional by any stretch of the imagination where he just takes a big contested grab. He works so hard defensively, and like in this situation, stays in the contest. Didn't take the mark, ball was on the ground. He's 6'5", 6'6", and keeps going.
Well, that's his 42nd goal for the year. One thing we should remember, he's just 22 years of age.
22, and they're the sort of players you build a club around for a decade.
Yep. He gets the first goal for the Suns. Tippett and Smith go at it again. Smith, second effort. Finally got it over to Lonergan, who's strong. Riscatelli, the left. He'll go towards the line. And they're all happy to see it over.
Obviously, I'm not sure what Rocket said, but he's obviously said something good, because they've come out and played a better brand of footy, and probably what he'd want to do is have a better result going forward, because they haven't been that much less than the opposition, but they have not been nearly as effective, and the Swans have been able to manipulate a spare back and just take a ball right out of their forward 50 every time nearly.
Jetta, the sub into the game. That's better from Buddy. He looked okay there. Not tackled, but he still managed to handball it 30 metres away. Kennedy involved twice.
Accidental trip against Stanley.
Cunningham's ball. Kicked a goal in the first quarter, and he wants to get it in there quickly. Heaney or Reid. At the back, Malcheski. By hand, looking for Lonergan. Shaw with him. And he keeps it low. It's a Hall.
Just thinking then maybe John Longmire might be better just to put Buddy where he's going to play best, and that's full forward, and just don't worry about tonight's tactics of trying to isolate Shade and get Ben Reid the ball. Get Buddy the ball, because he doesn't look like he's anywhere near it at the moment.
Well, I suppose that's an interesting point. Or is it the balance of getting miles in his legs as well in a competitive environment? So up the field, I suppose that's the balance. GPS numbers or ball in hand?
I'd like to see his GPS numbers. I don't think they'd be too high.
Some pressure here on Richards trying to get it out of the defensive 50. So we haven't seen a lot of that so far in the first quarter. The exact opposite. And Rampy just uses Goods as an outlet to just settle.
We see, again, Swans have got numbers back, that +1. The Suns, their extra is lost in the middle of the ground. He's not getting isolated, not sort of being a link man off half-back or intercept mark. He's just getting lost in congestion at the moment.
It's all about numbers of the game, and I suppose whoever's spare's having the most influence, you'd go with. You know, if yours was having influence, you'd keep it, and if he wasn't, you're the other side. You try and do something about their spare.
Yep.
Smith came in over the top to win the knock. Danny Stanley sends it forward. Dixon and Grundy battle. Grundy managed to get the ball in the second attempt, but Dixon did well. Shade let him down, fumbled it. Should have been a shot at goal for the Suns, but it still might be. Shade realising his error. Second attempt. Matera slides out of the tackle. Got up by hand looking for Shade. A bit messy. Now Rampy. Give on the up to Jetta. Weaves through from traffic. Pike. Standing still was Kennedy. Cunningham forced to kick quickly. And Malcheski paddles it over the line.
So that bit of play there was all the players were basically in the Suns' forward half, and they looked better. There was a contest there, and Shaw, who's been playing on the wing, actually went very early to pick up the spare, and that's what Rocket talked about before the game, trying to handle that spare play that the Swans generate.
Pike down in front looking for Mitchell. Miller off the ground. Stanley. Miller gets it back from Malcheski. Drills it low. It's a half volley. It's a tough one for Lynch to mark. They're still alive here, though, the Suns. Martin, shoulders, arms. Tried to get it to Shaw. He spins in a 360. Back to Lemons. Just the fumble. Runs into Shaw. That's Heath Shaw. Oh, sorry, Reece Shaw. There's Matt Shaw out there, and that's Mackenzie kicking a goal. So they've found a little bit here, the Suns.
Yeah, well, they've had better entries, haven't they? They've had better entries. They're not getting their spare back, and they're just starting to hunt the ball a bit better than they did in the first quarter, because it wasn't up to AFL standard that first quarter, their effort.
The great thing there, Martin was involved on 2 occasions. There were 2 handballs. The first one, he was tackled. He had composure, didn't panic, waited till someone appeared, gave the handball out, and again, got involved again. And that handball was the one that led to the Mackenzie goal. But outstanding under pressure to stand in the tackle for his first handball.
First goal for the season for Trent Mackenzie. As we know, he plays down back. Very rare to see him go forward, but Suns get 2 in a row.
Play on.
Hanbury shovels it out to Cunningham. Hall has him. Through everybody's legs. Hanbury again. That is a clever handball to Jetta. Off a standing start. Tippett tries to protect the ground and does it beautifully.
There's a good quality opponent in Thompson as well. This is what we've seen over the last few weeks. I think he's doing it really well. He's a big man, 200+ centimetres, got huge reach and big, powerful forward. So when he's standing strong, he's an imposing opponent.
Had a shot in the first quarter, was just to the right from him off a tight angle. This one's not the angle. Has he got enough distance? I think he's got just enough, no? Oh. Umpire pretty clear that it was behind.
Yeah, Zach Smith came over the top and got just a little hand on it.
Yep. Person in the crowd's making the TV signal signs saying, review, review. Umpire fairly adamant that it was touched. Kick out from May. Lynch the target. Pike. Got a call from Laidler, but he gave it up. Now on the other way, this is promising for the Suns through Miller. Good vision. He's missed his target, though. He spotted Martin had 4 metres on Rampy. And the Swans should get it out, although Jones with a fumble. And then he kicks to the wing looking for Goods. Let it go. Towers. Got around Melcheski easily. Tippett slides in.
It's funny how often it happens that when people play themselves in form in the ruck, those people, that type of player, when they go forward, they mark everything. It just gets them in the form.
Big butt.
Here's Buddy.
Yeah, that's what we want to see.
He's hoping for 50 for a little push afterwards. What do you think, Lynchy? He's going to be outside 50.
He'll go the extra wide big swing on the arc and tee it right up. I'm tipping he might just pull the ears off this one right.
I reckon he might kick this.
I think he'll kick it too.
It's very close to the man on the mark. Gee, we can spot that coming a mile off. Put the moz on him anyway. Here's Hall. Shaw waits.
That's a free kick against Laidler. Yeah, good call from the umpire.
2-on-1 situation.
Yeah, and just Laidler, as used to be the profession from all defenders and players, really, just edge your opponent under the ball so your extra would mark the ball easily.
Miller.
Why can't you do that, though?
No, you're not allowed to.
Change the rule.
No, change the rule this year. It goes in and out of vogue. Depends which month it is.
Oh, there's a good take by Lynch.
They're looking better forward, aren't they?
They are looking much better.
Better composure with the ball through the middle of the ground, hitting targets and kicking the ball to their big forwards. They need it in the air and they need it in reasonably quick.
Well, Lynch, we saw him kick a wonderful goal off the snap on an angle. This is where we've seen a lot of the attempts so far from the Swans. Slide angle, 25 to 30 metres out. We've seen Reid miss 3. So Lynch for his second. To get the margin back to a workable one for the Suns, and everybody's missing. It's catching. It seems you don't want to be in that zone.
Well, I can see why some people get angry when they say goal kicking hasn't improved. Well, bloody hasn't, has it? Because that was a really
easy kick.
Easy shot for goal.
Lonergan kicked in. Hall let it go. Plenty of players around the ball. They're waiting for it to come out. We've got a ball up.
You're right. Aaron Hall chose not to go at that one.
Backing out this way.
He just must have think it was going a lot deeper. Or...
Yeah, you ran straight past the ball and blocked it. Straight past the ball. Thank you. I don't need to.
Good on you, Mike.
Umpires will watch the replay Tuesday. That's about it.
Thank you.
There should be more of that, shouldn't there, that conversations on the field, but it's a high-risk business.
Yeah, it is.
You must remain composed and respectful.
Big Charlie.
Anyway, well, he'll miss.
No,
everyone misses from here.
Monty.
I'm being flippant, but he's got it online. Straight through. Well called, Alistair. And they've got their third, the Suns, and they're back within 20.
Well, just... It's encouraging signs. They're getting reward for it. Now, this is a free kick in the mark and ruck contest. Now, watch Pike. He'll take the space of Charlie Dixon.
And you're not allowed to do that either.
At the ball. So I do get confused. So he just takes his line.
Oh,
he crossed the...
It's just being physical in a ruck contest, isn't it?
Imagine trying to explain that free kick to someone who's watching for the first time. It'd be really difficult because...
Or try to explain it to a Canadian.
Yeah.
That's one for discussion throughout the week. I mean, surely in a ruck contest, he's just being physical.
That's what I thought. I thought it looked like it was a fair game. I
think the adjudication was that he crossed the line and took the run.
Oh, it's too many complications.
Anyway, Sydney will go forward. Towers couldn't quite get this. The Swans fans want the free kick. Kolajasny only as far as Rowan. But all of a sudden, it's 20 points when it was 37 at quarter time. Here's Goods. In the pocket looking for Reid, and Thompson with a nice mark.
Yeah, just overcooked that kick. And if Sydney are going to do any damage in September, Goods has an important role to play. It's not going to be the same role of a few years ago, but he's going to have to play a significant role, just popping up, kicking a few goals.
He's got to almost pinch hit, doesn't he?
Yep.
Cunningham with a courageous mark going backwards.
Well, Cunningham's one of those players that it's got more of an opportunity in the midfield with Parker on the sidelines with that injury. So good opportunity for him as well. He'll become an important player over the next month.
Kennedy trying to go through, but standing in the way were a couple of Suns. Lonergan has it and misses his target in Kolodziejny. Halfway through this second quarter. Suns have kicked 3.
Now Heaney, he was in the goal square by himself, so just reshuffled. Luke Russell goes back and picks him up.
Kolodziejny to Shaw. Hall, risky, but it's come off. Day gives it back to Hall. He's just going to put it out and let Garlett use his speed. He's got plenty of that. He's got enough skill to find shade. He was being warned by Rampy. Gets up, goes to ground though. Garlett to help out. He's swamped. Holding the ball, ducked into it. Sydney will have it. We'll come back to Zach Jones. Goods is his target. He's trying to use his body, but Day wouldn't have nothing to do with it. Heaney gets it from Kennedy and hooks it back to a dangerous spot. And here he is again.
There's that reach.
Yeah. Tippett.
And your point before, Bomber, about getting confidence in the middle of the ground. You gain confidence by getting the ball in the hand, no matter whether it's... And the one that really stands out to me is a defender can go back and spoil and play well. Then he can go forward and actually mark the ball. Whereas if he starts forward, it's often a lot harder.
It's hard. I think it's under-respected how hard it is to get a kick in the forward line in this game today.
That's a beautiful kick from Tippett. The last one was touched on the line. Not this time.
Yeah, and he's really important to this team. See the ball coming long here, and he's coming in, gets offensive side of Charlie Dixon, just gives him a little nudge under the ball, but really clean hands and takes a really good mark. And anyone that's marking the ball in the forward 50 is such a significant asset. If you're also doing it in the middle of the ground, you're a very important player in September.
Back in straight Eddie, lads.
First goal of the second quarter for the Sydney Swans. It's taken a while, but they've had a couple of opportunities. And Tippett has his first.
Play on.
Margin back to 26. Here's Aaron Hall for the clearance for Gold Coast.
So hard at Gold Coast.
Well, there's a free kick out of that. Back to Danny Stanley. Shaw had a fair bit of it. Was thinking maybe I've done enough to mark that.
Well, Shaw was the extra back there. Yeah, I agree. I think Reece Shaw thought taking the mark there. Disappointed to hear the free kick had gone against him.
Line's good, Danny.
Or against the Suns.
The
Swans.
Well, Danny Stanley's only played the 7 games this season. Let's take a look.
Oh,
yeah, thanks, Jeremy.
Was it there?
No.
No.
There wasn't a lot in it.
I didn't think it was there. But anyway, lining up for his first goal in the last game of the year, his first goal of the season. Kicks truly, and an answering goal quickly for the Gold Coast.
Well, it's been their year, their night. Swans have been having a fantastic start. They're sort of fallen in the trap of just trying to get easy possessions in bad parts of the ground. It sort of cost them this quarter, I think, because the Suns have then lifted the intensity, and they've sort of just got the Swans how they want them really at the moment. They're winning a lot more ball, and they're going a little bit harder at the ball, and their forward line is functioning all of a sudden.
And I think here, that's against Laidler again, just taking Stanley under the ball.
Right, here we go.
Didn't think there was much in it.
Wasn't a lot in it, but that was the decision that was paid.
Margin back to 20, so 4 of the 5 goals in this quarter for the Suns. Dixon working hard to get it back to Riscatelli. Heaney gets rid of him. Cunningham got a call from Mitchell, who gets it forward. Thompson, stop, start, went without it. Lonergan helped him out. And he floats one away. And it's good enough to find Garlett.
Hold there.
Yeah, the bailout kick's not there at the moment.
That's a good mark by Stanley. Needed to be, because it had turnover written all over that kick. Riscatelli.
This is where they're hitting those 30-metre passes on the 45 a lot more now.
Now he sets it up for Lynch to have a run at it.
Play on.
Just didn't quite time it there. Rampy on the way out. Wants Goods. May went first. Well done by big Buddy Franklin to keep it alive. Goods uses Buddy. Decides he doesn't want to go all the way himself. Goes along the ground. Unusual decision to give it to big Kurt Tippett, but he's still got it. Now he's got some help in Goods, and Goods just pokes it out in front of Reed. Oh, he follows it up with a great tackle, Adam Goods. They're not out of trouble yet here, the Gold Coast. Russell caught. Thompson takes it over the line. Well, all their 4 key forwards involved there, but they put it on the deck a couple of times.
Wasn't the cleanest bit of play you've seen by the late side.
He's Adam Goods, gets involved in the contest with the tackle, and that's what they want to see from the superstar veteran.
Mitchell hard at it. Heaney. Back for Mitchell. Cunningham off a step. That might go through. It will. That's a goal. Cunningham's got 2. Hard work by the Swans midfield.
Just weight of numbers, just pushing the ball forward. And we saw in the lead-up Buddy Franklin get involved on a couple of occasions here. Just good tackling pressure. Heaney again, as he's getting tackled to ground, gets the ball over to Mitchell, who in turn gets it over to Cunningham and kicks a handy goal. Just quick reply. The Suns at the other end had a good answer.
Okay, let's set it up. Set it up.
So 2 for Cunningham and 2 for Kennedy. So 4 from the midfield. And you throw in Hanbury, that's 5. 5 of their 8 from the midfield.
Play on.
High scoring
Play
quarter.
on, touch.
Garlett, that's touched off the boot, but it hits the deck anyway. Laidler, first to it. Puts it out in front of Kennedy. Miller tries to worry him out of it, takes him down. Hanbury comes in. Got it quickly to Cunningham, to Jeddah, who spots Shaw in the middle. Trying to spread here, trying to get it over to Richards. Finally gets there, but well, they went out. Good running from Jones. He's got a target, and he's got Tippett again.
Just outside his range, you would have thought.
Yeah, he looks impressive though, doesn't he? When he leads for the ball, you've sort of got a feeling he's going to win it.
And he's going to kick to the square. Going to kick to Goods. The spoil comes from Shaw, but Sydney can set up here for the boundary throw-in. They lead by 26. They lead by 37 after a brilliant opening term.
That's a bad throw-in. It's short.
It's gone short. Pressure for Malcheski, and in the end he's forced to roll it through.
He's very happy to get it over the line safely. Just under a little bit of pressure now again. The Suns, they've got to hit the targets and get that run back in their game.
The Swans look best when they just have their aggressive ball usage up through a bit more through the corridor rather than just wide and safe. I think they're going to, if they're going to beat Fremantle next week, that's what they want to do.
Dixon, and a fair piece of it. Grundy with him. Comes back to Grundy off the boot. Now Dixon. Got past one, but not the second one. Sydney take the advantage. Jones again with a bit of room. Last time he spotted up Tippett. This time he heads out in the Goods direction. Goods is going to try to work Shade over with the young fella. He did okay, didn't panic. Gave it off to Aaron Hall, who chips it to Smith. Trying to run it out here, the Suns, and they do through Danny Stanley to Martin.
That was good work from Martin. They were outnumbered by 2, so he had to get out into space and hold the ball up. Just allow his midfield and his forwards to get into position.
Hall again. Over the back it'll go. It's a chance for Matera. He's caught, but he managed to get it over to Garland, who throws it on the boot quickly, rolls it across. How about that for a goal? Fantastic work by Garland.
That was a goal just on the back of some individual brilliance. I mean, they were outnumbered severely. Matera was under enormous amount of pressure, and Garland just slapped that one onto the boot. And a little dribble kick here. Here's the Aaron Hall kick, goes in long. Outnumbered, good spoil over the top. That was Jones.
1 to 1, 1 to 2,
here come the
1
numbers.
to 3.
Outnumbered, and Garlett, look at that.
That's sensational.
There's 2 on 5 there, or 2 on 6.
And the 2-1. Rare.
Just a little glance there from Jared Garlett to the screen, and why not?
If you're going to kick goals like that.
Yeah, that's going to go on the highlight reel, not just for him, but for the entire season. That was a beautiful piece of work. Lovely bit of individual brilliance.
The system in the forward half for the Gold Coast is just a lot better. 8 inside 50s for 5 goals won. Compared to the first quarter, 10 inside 50s for 2 behinds. Just a lot better.
Lynch has gone back, and he probably should have marked that. And the Swans will try and hold it in and a shot. Yeah, you're right, Barry. 5 goals for the quarter. Gold Coast didn't look like kicking goal in the first.
In the first quarter, when they did go in the forward 50, just got rebounded against very easily.
Yep.
So they're holding the ball in their forward 50 now.
Oh, Goods tried to take on too many in the end. Kolodjasny got him.
I reckon there would have been a time when he could have just got away with that.
Through there.
He would have burst through. He hasn't got his power. He's an old man. Should have got on his boot.
Kolodjasny heading in the Garlett direction. Hanbury goes back. Ball falls towards Miller. Stolen. Pinched by Laidler. Oh, now Sam Reid. Oh, he's kicked 3 points.
Lynchy.
Lynchy, you're in the chair.
You're the expert.
Well, actually, I think this one is his...
It's a bit tougher.
No, this is his spot. So he's going to have a full kick, and it's going to be from about 45 metres out. I think we'll get a nice sort of right to left, straight through the middle. This is the distance. You're comfortable when you've got the yips from here.
He's missed 3 shockers, and he's got that one on line. Good call, Alistair. Goal to Reid.
The mental fight I've been through many times. So it's just outside the easy goal range, and he was very comfortable. Just
so, tell me something. It's the easy range of goal, the easy distance out from goal that actually puts more pressure on you, is it?
Yeah, mentally. So you're going to kick the ball from 45. Expectation is, realistically, it's a toughish shot. Whereas the one from 30, you know you shouldn't miss it. Everyone in the stand knows you shouldn't miss it.
It's interesting because not being a forward, you don't know that sort of stuff. We all just criticise.
Some relief for Sam Reid. As Barry Hall said, he should probably have 4 or 5 goals in the first half.
And that mightn't be every forward, Byron. It might be just my unique issues.
No, I think it's generally every forward. They all go through it, don't they, at some stage?
You do.
I don't think you should lump Alistair in with everyone. He's unique. There's a hole. Oh, everything's happening as far as the key forwards are concerned.
Yeah, well, Grundy has tried to ease Dixon under the ball. And I think Charlie's made the most of that. And Reg is not happy at all. As you saw from his last shot, a fairly solid kick for goal.
Yes, he kicked. We saw a couple miss, and he just went back and went bang.
Yeah, a bit mechanical in his leader, but usually pretty effective.
This for his second. This for 6 for the quarter for the Gold Coast Suns. It's there. 2 for Dixon, and they hang in there.
It was an amazing good kick, wasn't it, for a guy so tall? He's quite accurate. He's quite neat and tight.
He's got a good drop.
Yeah, it looks good. They need it. They've had a good quarter, the Suns. I tell you, it's a bit of a danger when you're the Swans and you know you're playing finals. You have a great first quarter and you think, oh, well, I'll just take the foot off the pedal. They've taken it off the pedal.
Yeah,
they'll probably still win the game. But you wouldn't want to be going in. You just want to play better footy and get the outcomes that you're looking for. And that's, I reckon, the biggest thing is they've just got to try and get a bit more aggressive with their ball movement through dangerous parts of the ground.
A little sidebar happening here for the Gold Coast Suns for their leading goal kicker between Dixon and Lynch. Lynch 42, Dixon 41.
Good contest.
Yes, and it is just 2 and a bit quarters to go. And this is a 6-goal quarter, a good effort by the Suns to get back into it. They're down by 21 as Sydney go forward again. And the perfect spot was Towers, front and square, waiting for the spoil. Kicks towards Goods, he's dropped that one, he might have another chance, he'll get it to Franklin.
They've hung on there, the Suns, just to get that one over the line safely, concede a point instead of a behind. Goodsy will be thinking, I'm not getting slower, it's just everyone else is getting a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think not so much that the first one, but I think he thought, no, I've got this one. This is mine. So a holding free again, this time for Zach Smith. Oh, he's not sure. So he bails out back to Malcheski.
That's good use there from Malcheski.
Good vision to spot material with the...
And this is where they're outnumbered long here.
It's 3-on-1 here. Over the back, though, to Dixon. who hooks it round the corner, hoping for Martin. Hanbury in the way.
And again, they were outnumbered. That's what you're talking about, Bomber. The decision to go, the good sides go a lot earlier.
Yes.
So they read the triggers that we've got to get back in our defensive zone. They set up very early.
On the way out, Rampy only finds Riscatelli, so still got a minute left in the half. Riscatelli goes up high. Richards at the back. The spoil. The ball ricochets off Lloyd. Sun sweating on it. Garnett trying to tap it forward. It's right around the 50-metre line, and the ball comes out. Stanley with some time. He had more time than he thought, and he gets it to Lynch. So they may get a goal in the last 30 seconds of the game. Lynch lining up for his second, and it's a 7-goal quarter.
I was just watching him then, and he was at the contest, and he ran away from it, tried to get forward to the play, and he ran away with his eyes on the ball the whole time, and that's why he was first to react and go, and get that quick kick off the boot of one of his teammates. He's a good player, like him.
He missed his last shot from similar sort of range.
So Lynch, well, he's not going to score. So a disappointing kick from him. So he's off target.
Well, his last shot from that spot just faded out to the right. And he'd be disappointed with that, the big young forward.
The best quarter against the Swans since they've started playing. 5 goals won. So this is their best quarter against Sydney. And they need something to happen very quickly here. Lonergan couldn't get past Tippett. But they've hung in there, the Gold Coast, after that 6-goal quarter. 3 goals at the other end of the Swans. So they've still got a comfortable lead of 22 points. But certainly the rooms at half-time will be a lot more comfortable for the Suns. It's half-time for the Sydney Swans here at the SCG, leading by 22.